I need to say something today, as always, that might make some people uncomfortable, but if you respect yourself, there are certain traits in a man that you cannot ignore. And I'm not saying this because I hate men. I actually love men, and I believe that strong, grounded men are beautiful and necessary in our lives. I love my boyfriend, I love my father, I love my man friends, and they are necessary. But I learned some... My LED light was literally about to fall. I learned some of these lessons the hard way, and if I can save you from repeating my mistakes, then I definitely will. Say hi to your protective and mad older sister, because I'm not letting you make the same mistakes as me. I'm not letting you suffer because of an immature boy. I'm not letting you tolerate things that you shouldn't. I'm not letting you having low standards for men, and I will teach you where is the perfect moment to run away from them. And not because I'm above you, just because I'm ahead in this chapter, because trust me, as a teenager and even in my 20s, I was so stupid. I tolerate a lot of things that I will never ever in my life tolerate right now. I was cheated on several times, and I was tolerating toxic and narcissistic behaviors that I definitely shouldn't. So I know what it's like to be there, and I don't want you to do the same. I don't want you to be there. You can definitely avoid that. Most of my relationships were awful, and that's why they didn't last more than 3 months, because I was done in less than 3 months with them. And again, this video is not for hating men. This video is like a guide for women, not matter your age, so you know when is the perfect moment to run away from that man, from that relationship. Either you are already in a relationship right now, or you are meeting someone, or you just want to know what to avoid next time. I will be sharing my honest advice with you, as I will do with any of my friends or family members, and they actually trust me and ask me for advice because they know that I will say a very harsh but at the same time necessary truth. This is exactly the piece of advice I wish someone has given me when I was a teenager, because it will have saved me from many relationships and unnecessary suffering. So I will give you 7 red flags that I would definitely avoid in a man, so if you see them, run. Point number 1, when you're forced into the masculine role. This one is probably the biggest red flag for me in a man. I dated men who made me feel like the man in the relationship. I had to make the plans, I had to push the relationship forward, I had to protect myself emotionally, I had to protect myself whenever I went out, and slowly I stopped feeling like a woman in a relationship. And that was probably one of the most awful and weird feelings that I had in a relationship. When I started feeling this way, I immediately broke up. Those relationships didn't last more than 3 months. I don't want to be a man, thank you. I leave. And this actually is one of the main reasons why I looked so tomboy in my early stages of my teenage years. I was so masculine back then, and don't get me wrong, I love tomboy style, and I know that it doesn't have to be directly related with being masculine. Like, you can be a feminine girl and have tomboy style. I'm still wearing tomboy clothes nowadays, but having that tomboy style just because you like it or because you feel like that, because you chosen that, is different from being like that because you were forced somehow into the masculine role. And that was exactly what happened to me, because yes, I actually felt good in my tomboy style, being more masculine than normal as a girl when I was a teenager, but slowly I started to feel bad about it. You know, I started to feel bad every single time I was feeling like the man in my own relationship. So that was something that made me quit immediately on that relationship or that guy. So that's something that, for me at least, can completely destroy the attraction I can have for a man. You can be a 10, you can be an 11, you can be a 12 in everything you want, but if you don't let me be the woman in my relationship, if you have more feminine energy than me, then sorry, but I don't want to date a princess. Let me be the freaking princess. Let me tell you a very quick and fun personal story for this point so you can understand why this is so important for me and why one of my relationships last less than 3 months because of this. So one day I was at the subway with one of my exes. Of course, I'm not gonna mention his name. And it was so late at night, so there were no people around, and a thief came to rob us with a knife. And you can easily tell by the way that the thief was even more scared than us. So I don't know, maybe it was his first time robbing someone. But my ex literally started shaking and panicking and desperately taking out everything he had in his pocket. So I stood in front of my ex and I told him to calm down and stay still, like don't act like that, because I knew that if you don't act with confidence in those situations, it can be even worse. So I saw that the thief was shaking and I told him, hey, you know that there's a camera recording you right behind you, right? So the thief was a little bit distracted and confused, and I took advantage of that situation to super quick kick his hand, the one that was holding the knife. And disclaimer here, I was training martial arts, I was doing Kung Fu Wushu, so I knew how to do that kick. It was not just a random kick, okay? I was actually training every single week, so I was more than prepared for that situation. If you are not training martial arts, please don't try that. And also I had the courage to do that because I saw that the thief was shaking and was scared. So that's why I did it. If not, I would probably not do that. So I grabbed my ex's hand and we just ran away. And I am not exaggerating when I say that from that moment on, I stopped liking my ex and I stopped being attracted by my ex. I think just a month later or even less, I broke up with him. And if that same situation will repeat today, for example, I will instantly broke up with my partner after that. Sorry, not sorry. But from where I came, that's definitely not accepted. I came from Eastern Europe and my father will kill my boyfriend if he's not able to protect me, even though I'm a martial artist and I can defend myself. When you're constantly in control, constantly trying to defend yourself, constantly steering the ship, you don't relax, you don't feel safe. And biologically, women are not wired to relax in that dynamic. There is something instinctive in us that wants to feel safe enough to soften. And if I have to be strong and defend myself every time because you're not capable of protect me, then I don't feel feminine, I don't feel safe. I basically feel alone. A healthy man doesn't compete with you for control. A healthy man will make you feel like you can rest and you are safe. Point number 2, he doesn't provide, and I don't mean just money. Let me clarify something first. Provider does not mean being rich. There are millionaires who give nothing and there are men with very little who give everything. Providing is about effort, it's about showing up, it's about trying to make your life easier, not harder. If you feel like you are always carrying all the heavy stuff, like emotionally, mentally, financially, then that's not partnership. You deserve someone that contributes. And yes, there is something deeply instinctive in women that relaxes when a man wants to actually carry responsibility. If I have to feel like I'm raising you instead of building with you, then something is wrong. I am not your mother, I'm your girlfriend though. And this is something that luckily I didn't experience personally in my past relationships, but even though it's something that I see a lot around me, like women not dating providers, especially in Western countries. So it's not about having money, being rich, about age, or about status. And we were students, none of my past relationships were rich. We only had savings or part-time jobs, things like that. They all provided for me with wherever they had at that moment. So that's why I say that you don't need to be rich to be a provider. When I first came to Madrid, I had nothing and I was working all day plus 50 hours per week. At that time, I was renting an apartment with 3 more roommates, but the relationship with them wasn't good. It was everything super toxic. I wanted to quit my job at that time, and I was just super worried. I was super uncomfortable with that situation. And at that time, I was dating a guy. When he heard that, he instantly told me not to worry because he can carry full responsibility of me and I can move with him. He was also renting an apartment with his best friend. He wasn't rich. He had a common job and he had a common base salary. And even though he was willing to take full responsibility of me financially and in every single way, he was willing to work for both of us. And if I wanted to work at that time, then that was fine. But if not, then he will carry all the responsibility. And I didn't have to ask for it. You don't deserve less. And we were just 22 at that time. And I remember that, and I'm using this as an example because he was a full provider and he made me feel so safe and so protected in that moment. That was very, very important for me because I was like in panic mode and I really needed that. A relationship should feel like support, not survival. Then why are you dating someone? And also I have to say that my actual boyfriend Hao is also a very, very good provider and I didn't have to ask for it. He always paid for dinner, for food, for things that I wanted, for things that I needed. Even though this setup, like the PC that I have right now here, the keyboard, the PC, everything, he paid for it when I had no money and when I wanted to start, my YouTube journey and do things because my laptop was broke. So he helped me. He always is helping me with money if I needed to. And that's something that I appreciate a lot because I don't feel alone, If I can do this right now and pursue my dreams, it's because of him, because he's creating a safe space for me so I can soften and relax a little bit and focus in my content creation stuff, in my businesses, in my entrepreneurship career and all the stuff, and feel safe. And that's something that I appreciate a lot, and I think we all deserve that. He's a very smart, hardworking, a responsible person. So of course, when I will be a millionaire myself, he doesn't have to worry about anything again. Point number 3, he isn't protective of you. When I say protective, I don't mean controlling. I mean, does he care when you're uncomfortable? Does he step in when something feels wrong? Does he check that you got home safe? When I first met Hao, he will ask me every single time after a date if I got home safe, and so it continues to be 4 years later. And if for whatever reason I don't answer him back all day and the double tick doesn't appear on WhatsApp, we all know that that means that my iPhone doesn't have internet connection or my phone is off. He starts to worry a lot because he noticed that and he knows my behavior. He knows that something is wrong, something is going on. And of course, if everything is okay and I just had, internet problems and things like that, because life happens sometimes, then I find a lot of messages and calls of him saying that if I don't answer in 1 hour, he will call the police. And notice that that's not control, that's being protective because he knows me and he knows my behavior and he knows that something is definitely going on. And I love that because that means that he cares about me. That means that he's being attentive and not indifferent to what happens to me. That was literally a boyfriend or a partner, a husband, whatever means for me. I don't feel alone. I know that there is someone always behind me making sure that I'm safe and everything is going well. And I know that if something really happens to me one day, Hao will be the very first person to notice that and call the police or do whatever he have to do. Protection is attentiveness, is to care. If a man is indifferent to your comfort, to your boundaries, to your safety, then that's not strength. That's detachment. In nature, the feminine chooses always safety. I need someone to confidently say, hey, this is my woman, and if you freaking dare to touch her, then you're a dead man. Not dominance, not control, safety. If I don't feel protected emotionally, physically, mentally, then why I am here? I don't need to compete with women. I want to feel secure with him. And always remember that the right man never cage you. He shields you. Point number 4, he escalates every argument. This one is huge, okay? Huge, trust me. If every single argument or disagreement you guys have turns into him yelling louder than you, or him playing the victim role, or him trying to win instead of solve, run. A mature man regulates himself. Don't date angry and immature boys. He loses control faster than you do. If he punishes you emotionally, if he makes every single argument a battlefield, that relationship will exhaust you. And it will literally break you mentally, trust me. Conflict should build understanding, not fear. I actually dated this type of guys. One of them was literally a psychopath, and having arguments with him was literally a battlefield. It was even dangerous sometimes because he will get so aggressive. And of course, I ran away from that situation, from that relationship, that it was a little bit more complicated because we were basically living together. But you know, I have a very strong character, so I don't get intimidated that easy by any man or any person. So I was literally fighting back. Of course, I broke up with him, and he was the one that actually got tired at the end of arguing with me every single time, and me fighting him back and being more stronger than the previous argument actually. So he was the one who left the house, and that's when our relationship ended. But it was definitely not good for my mental health. It was so toxic. I can't explain how toxic that guy was. So don't do that. Don't date that type of guys, seriously. It's not worth it, and it will become even more serious and dangerous with time. So please avoid that. If you see that man is getting angry every single time for little things, then run. It was mentally exhausting. It was awful. Every single day was awful. So seriously, I needed therapy. I needed therapy at that time because of him. And he left me with some traumas that I have to deal myself with. So why? All of that because of what? Just because of dating an angry, immature, psychopathic boy? Why? It's not worth it. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Don't do that, please. Point number 5, he minimized your pain. I'm pretty sure that we've been with men that treated our emotions like they were dramatic. It's not that serious. You're overreacting. It's just your hormones. Aren't you on your period? You're so dramatic. Watch how he treats you when you are sick, when you are on your period, when you are overwhelmed. Because that's how he will treat you in the most important time in your life, when you will be pregnant and when you most will need him, if you want to be pregnant, of course. That's when you see his true character and his true colors. And especially if you want to be pregnant someday and if you want to have children with him someday, that's when you need to be the most careful and pay the most attention ever. Because being pregnant is already hard and painful, and having children with the wrong man, it will be probably worst mistake of your life. You don't want to share pretty much all your life with someone that doesn't care about you and minimizes your pain. A man who cares about you doesn't mock your vulnerability. If my pain, wherever that is small to you, then I am small to you. And I don't want to be dating any single man that consider that I'm small or I'm too much. How cares about every single little detail that is overwhelming me or that is going on in my life. Whatever happens in my life, even though it's not that important for him, he gets involved. He always gets involved and try to, solve that problem or make me feel better. But he never minimize my pain. If I'm on my period, he will treat me like a princess. He will give me my favorite sweets, or make me a tea, or just take care about me. Is this hurting you? How are you feeling? How are you today? He's always asking and taking care of me every single time. So again, you don't deserve less. Trust me, this type of men are not that hard to find. You just have to find the right man and avoid the wrong ones. But please never ever lower your standards. Never. This type of men exist. I swear, they exist. Don't lower your standards. Point number 6, you are never his priority. I'm not saying that you should be the only thing in his life. That's emotional attachment, and we don't want that. But if you always notice that you come after his friends, his family, his mother, his games, his whatever, even his ego, then you're not building a future with that person. You're just filling a gap. If he really sees you as the woman he wants long term, as his family, as his future wife, then you won't feel like you're competing for his attention. Never do that. Absolutely never. You don't beg for priority. You observe it. I always have a quote, but more like a quote is literally my value in a relationship, okay? And it's that you, from your freedom, will show me how much I mean to you. From your freedom, okay? I don't have to control you. I don't have to say what you have to do. So from your own freedom, you will demonstrate how much I mean to you. And that's all. You are his freaking queen, and he has to give you your freaking throne. If he also wants you long term, if he wants to make a family with you, if he wants you to be his wife someday, then of course he has to give you a freaking throne. And 7, lack of respect. This is basic, but it's everything. No cheating, no insults during argument, no humiliating behavior online, and no disrespect disguised as jokes. Respect is definitely not optional in a relationship. If he doesn't respect you, nothing else matters. Run from that relationship. Love without respect is just attachment. I'm not saying men are the absolute problem of relationships. I'm just saying that having some standards definitely will protect you to having bad relationship experiences. There are incredible men out there, trust me, I swear, okay? They are loyal, they are grounded, they are protective, they are lovely, they are absolutely wonderful and incredible and necessary in your life. But that's different if you ignore all these traits, all these red flags that we mentioned before, just because you feel alone, because you're attached, because you hope that he will change someday. You will lose yourself trying to keep him, because that happened to me, and I don't want the same for you. I don't let you do that, okay? Never do that. Always choose the man that makes you feel safe, not the one that makes you feel like in survival mode every single day. And I really hope that all these tips, red flags, guide, call it whatever you want, will help you, and you can avoid suffering and avoid awful relationships, because you deserve the best. Please let me know in the comments if you have ever experienced one of these red flags in a man, or what is your overall experience with relationships, so I can know better what kind of help or guide you will need next time. And now, time for homework. I need you to do something uncomfortable, so take a notebook and write down, where do I feel unsafe in my relationship? Where do I feel like I'm caring more than I should? Where do I feel disrespected, but I'm pretending it's small? Don't judge yourself, just observe, okay? Because awareness is the first act of self-respect. Stay safe, do your homework, let me a comment down below so I can know you better, and tell me what kind of topics you'd like me to talk about next time. And if you like this video, you will also like this video, which is about modern relationships and especially about Gen Z relationships. Why our generation struggles so much to keep that relationship alive. Why relationships nowadays don't last that much as the older ones. So that's a very interesting topic that you will also like if you liked this one, and if you are interested in relationships and especially healthy relationships. So see you in that one.